Hello and welcome to the Heart Hook Home Video Crochet Podcast. My name is Ashley. I am your host. I am the crochet blogger and designer behind hearthookhome.com. This episode of the podcast is admittedly much more positive and happy than last time. Last time I was ready to rip my hair out because I was working on this Denzel sweater and it was just not going as planned. So I went on vacation with my boys. We went on a little cruise. We went down to Cozumel and checked out all of that, and it was our first cruise ever. It was fun. I'm glad that we got away for a few days, or for a little while before school started. And now school has started, and I have a sophomore and an 8th grader, and it's insane, and it's fun, and they're loving it, and so we're a lot more positive today than we were a couple weeks ago is the gist of it, right? So today I have a finished Denzel sweater for you. It's amazing. And so I'm going to have Kaden come out here in a little bit and try it on for you so that you can see what that looks like finished. We'll talk about sizing and the pattern information, etc. My testers are finishing theirs up. I had several testers that are absolutely amazing that tested the first version that I hated, remember? And then I said, oh, okay, I've got this new version and it's ready to go. If you can test this as soon as possible, I would love you forever. And so they stepped up and they are working on theirs now. I do know that most of them have completed all of the yolks, so we know that that's good, and they're adding to the length of their sweaters, which takes a minute because it's a small yarn. But they are also working on the sleeves and making sure that that is perfect. I was hoping to publish that pattern this weekend, but I think I'm going to wait until next Wednesday, which is, that will give them 5 more days to make sure that the sleeves are perfect and everything else. And yeah, so I did go to the park the other night with Kaden and I had him wear this one. Absolutely loved that photo shoot. I am so itching to share teasers of that because it just turned out so amazing and he was really in it and it was awesome. And so yeah, I'm very excited to share this with you. The Denzel pattern does go from size extra small all the way up to, I believe it's 5XL. So it's a pretty diverse range of sizes. I will say that Kaden, as far as his measurements go, he should wear a large, but he likes it just a little bit bigger. So I did make him the extra large, which is this here. So it's a little bit roomy on him, but honestly, it looks pretty good. And those pictures from the park, he was so, he rocked it. I was just really happy with that. So that kid cannot fake a smile to save his life. So if he's genuinely excited about something, then that means I won, right? Basically. And I know he's in there listening to me. So yes, so we will show you the Denzel here in a little bit. And then I am planning on publishing that pattern next Wednesday. As far as I know, I will keep you posted. I'm definitely going to start sharing teasers soon on the Heart Hook Home Facebook page because that's my favorite, and the Instagram page, but that's my favorite way to share teasers because yeah, I just love it, right? And sharing in the group and everything else. So yes, so we have the Denzel that I will have him model for you shortly. I also have the Houndstooth vest. So you remember that for the September pattern, which is next week. Oh my gosh. It's not quite ready yet, but it is very close. I feel like between having the Denzel pattern being designed twice, essentially, I feel like I'm doing pretty good for being on pace for the Houndstooth vest, which I will show you here in just a moment. I did publish yesterday, I published a Houndstooth stitch tutorial, and I didn't realize this when I was getting ready to design the Houndstooth stitch vest, but the Houndstooth stitch is the lemon peel stitch. Like literally, it's just different colors. You're just changing colors every row. So I made the yoke of this Denzel and it didn't work out. I made a new yoke and it didn't work out of this version. And then I made another yoke and this is that and it worked out perfectly. So my point is that all of those Denzel sweaters of the revised version that I whipped up has the lemon peel stitch. And so I've been using the lemon peel stitch a lot, trying to figure or nail down that yoke for that Denzel sweater. And then I'm like, oh yeah, let's do a houndstooth. And surprise, it's lemon peel as well. So I am really done with that stitch, not gonna lie, but it does look good. And what I love about the vest is that there's no sleeves. So it's crocheting up really, really quickly. And let's take a look, okay? So right now, I don't want you to be intimidated by these yarn ends, because the way that we are working up this houndstooth vest, we are joining and turning every row, which makes it, because of the way that houndstooth, you see that, isn't that pretty? Because of the way that the houndstooth stitch is worked, you're always going to have, let's say I'm using black and white here, you're always going to have your black running in the same direction, and then you're going to have the white going in the opposite direction, and then you're going to have the black going in the opposite direction. So there's either, I did a full tutorial and there's a video for it on the YouTube channel that I will link to as well in the description, but you can either carry that opposite yarn color along the crochet and crochet around it across the entire row, so that when you go back to pick up that black for the next one going this way, that yarn is there and available. Otherwise, you have to clip your yarn every single row and reattach every single row. And the beauty of this vest is that it's worked in the round. So when you get back to the end of the row or round, you just pick up the new color, turn, use the new color to go around, and there's the other color waiting for you when you get back to the join. So that is a beautiful thing about working the houndstooth pattern in the round. I was thinking, you know, this, maybe not immediately because I'm sick of the lemon peel, but I do think that this would be a really fun stitch pattern to do as a beanie or a coffee cup koozie, right? Or an infinity scarf, etc. Because anything that's worked in the round is going to be pretty dang easy to do with this houndstooth stitch. So let me show you without further ado, right? Here we have this beautiful, this beautiful houndstooth pattern. Isn't that gorgeous? To me, these little white stitches here, they kind of look like little headless sweaters that are holding hands. Can you see it? Like they look like little sweaters that are just all super happy and holding hands, and yeah, headless, right? The headless sweater. But let me show you my seam. As you can see, this is my seam right here. This is where I joined and turned every row, and honestly, it's not that noticeable. It's also gonna hit right under the underarm. So when you've got your arm there, you're not gonna be able to see the seam as much. That's one thing that I really try to do with all of my designs, is to, number one, make it as seamless as possible to where there's minimal sewing, I guess. And then also as seamless as possible, meaning that when I design cardigans, etc., I like to make the body all in one piece instead of doing a left, a middle, and a right, and then seaming it up. I just like to avoid any seams or sewing if at all possible. So most of my cardigan designs that I have, and I'm specifically thinking of the Painted Canyon cardigan, which that was my first wearable pattern I ever published, and it's always been super popular. I love that pattern. It is the most beginner-friendly pattern ever, if I do say so. And then the blanket cardigan is similarly constructed, and then the velvet cardigan is also similarly constructed, as in it is completely seamless. The cozy co-ed cardigan is basically seamless except for the shoulders. All of these, you've only got like a tiny bit of sewing at the shoulders to connect the front and to the back. So that is one thing that I absolutely love in designing, is to make it as seamless, easy, simple as possible. So we've got our seam here at the underarm, right? Let me see if I can, where did it go? There it is. So got my seam here at the underarm, right? Looking good, looking good. Now for the back, since this is a vest and I am separating back and front, the front is going to be a V-neck, right? Because that's the look I'm going for, is that houndstooth vest that I'm going to wear like a white button up underneath of it, right? So it's going to be a deep V, right? And then little edging around the armhole opening, and with like a white button up underneath it. So for the back, when I separate into back and front, we have to have that opening there. So for the back portion, just from the armpits up, you don't have to clip every row, but I am clipping every row, and I know it looks like a lot, but honestly, I feel like it's not gonna be too bad because I'm not going to weave in any of these yarn ends yet until I am finished with the vest and I've got the edging around, because I'm going to do an edging around the armhole openings. I don't know if I'll do it as wide as this bottom band is, maybe just, this is 10 stitches, maybe 6 or something, maybe 8, I don't know. But right at the opening here, I'm going to leave all of these yarn ends until I have the front crocheted, the shoulder seamed, and the edging added, because my thought is all of those black yarn ends I can weave into the edging to weave in my ends. The white ones I will reserve to actually go back into that white row that corresponds to that yarn end. But I feel like weaving in the white into the white and then the black into the edging will create a less dense stitch, so it's going to be less yarn ends woven in right there at the end of the row, you know what I mean? So it will eliminate some of that bulk by putting some of them into the edging instead of the actual sweater or vest itself. So I will include that, of course, in the pattern description and the pattern notes and everything else, but I am starting right now. This is mine. This is the back, this is the front. Here we go, looking good, right? I'm starting the fronts here. So this is my first side of the front where I'm designing right now. I'm writing the pattern for the decreases that are going to make that into a V-neck. So pretty exciting, right? I'm very happy with this. If you have never worked the houndstooth stitch before, this is a fun stitch. It's upside down. This is a fun stitch. It's really visually appealing. I think it's got great texture to it, and yeah, it's classic, right? I think the houndstooth pattern itself is just a classic look, very nice, very chic. Okay, so what else do we have? We have, just today, I published a brand new pattern. So last time I took you in my bedroom and I showed you my Monstera wall hanging, right? With all of my leaves and everything else. And the thing that I know I teased about it maybe 2 weeks ago. It might have been a month ago. Who knows? Time is just, it has no meaning to me right now. Like the time is just like everything is, I don't even know what day of the week it is, barely, you know, but I have made a ginormous, okay, it's not ginormous, but it's pretty big, a Monstera leaf rug. It's made out of jute twine that is absolutely I'm gonna say it's not a dream to crochet with. You might want to wear a gardening glove because I did kind of get a little bit of a blister on the top of my finger when I was where the twine was rubbing over the top of my finger, so be mindful of that. But it is 30 inches wide, so it's a pretty decent size, and it's about 26 inches tall. And I made that using 3 strands of yarn and a 12mm hook, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So I will include an inlay, of course, of that rug so that you can see it as well. And that is a free pattern that is up on hearthookhome.com as of this afternoon. So I'll link to that in the description below as well. And now it is time for Caden to come out and try on the Denzel for you. So I'm gonna grab him and I'm gonna have him put this Denzel sweater on, and then I will be back to show you just how awesome it is. And yeah, stay tuned, right back. So here is Caden, my oldest son, and he is modeling the extra large size of the Denzel. Doesn't he look excited? He did just tell me that this is very comfortable. And what did you say? It's the best thing I've made for you? Is that what you said?
Oh, the bucket hat was a little bit better, but... Oh,
you like the bucket hat? Okay, yeah. That's fair. I like the bucket hat too, and it was in your school colors, so there's that. So this is the Denzel.
Those colors were ugly, but...
Oh, you're rude. Rude.
They were bad.
So here we have the Denzel, and this is the top down. I remember 2 weeks ago when I showed you this, all I had was to the yoke right here. So this is the extra large size, and like I said, he usually wears the large, so it is a little bit big. Can you turn around so that I can show them the back? See how lovely this is? Okay. there is a seam. Where is the seam? It's on this side, I think. This is the seam for the entire yoke, and I mean, look how invisible that is. And then if he lifts his arm up, the seam continues right down here. Like I just said about hiding the seam and keeping things as seamless as possible, I feel like that is, I mean, extremely well hidden, don't you think? Turn slightly, say hello. You're too tall.
Hi-yo, cheerio, cheerio.
Cheerio, you're too tall. So
Cheerio.
for the edging here, I did do just a very small little edging because I didn't want to do it too big. Usually for myself, if I'm making a cardigan for myself or for a feminine look, I usually do a chunkier edging just because I like the way that it looks. For this, I decided to keep it a little bit smaller, hopefully give it more of a masculine vibe. Denzel himself and I had been emailing, and I told him, I already sent him the preview picture of it because I mean it is named after him, so he got the first preview. But we were talking about, he saw the last podcast and he sent me an email. He's like, I'm sorry. And I said, don't be sorry, you know, like that's part of the process. Now, he's the guy that asked if I could design a top-down sweater using a thinner weight yarn for men, right?
Well,
and so that's what this is.
His hypothesis is way better.
Oh, you like that? Okay, well that's fair. That's fair. So we were talking about how when you have men's sweater patterns or men's wearables, that it's often better to keep the stitches very simple. So you can design in different shapes and different techniques, but the actual stitches used need to be kind of basic and kind of simple. So single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, etc. So here we are with the lemon peel, which is a combination of the single crochet and the double crochet, and I think that it just adds such a lovely feel to it. Doesn't it feel good? Like if this yarn is nice and soft, it is a size 2 yarn, so you could use the size 1 possibly if you can meet gauge and you're happy with the feel of that fabric and the look of it and the holiness of it, you know, the density of your stitches. You can absolutely do that. If you want to use a mandala or a size 3 yarn, I don't know why mandala comes to my mind first, but a size 3 yarn, you could possibly do that. Definitely check your gauge. You want it to be as close to mine as possible. For that, or that being said, we are using the lemon peel stitch, and because I know this off the top of my head and I've been using these numbers so often, I do know that it's a size 2 yarn. I used a D 3.25 millimeter hook, and I am getting, with the lemon peel stitch, I'm getting 20 stitches in 4 inches and 18.5 rows in 4 inches. So if you want to go ahead and practice, we're almost done. If you want to go ahead and practice your gauge, make sure that your hook size is kosher with mine, and that your stitches are the right size. Everything else, yeah, I will have all of the yardage information as soon as all of my testers have finished checking the sleeve pattern for me. But yeah, doesn't this look nice? And one other thing that I've done with this, instead of having just a specific number of row count, like a row count for each size, I have also added the overall length of the sweater. So if you are making this for someone in your household and they are a very tall person, then you just continue adding length to the sweater. If you can have them try it on, you can continue adding length to that. If you're making it for someone that your cousin that lives in Ohio or something, or maybe not if you live in Ohio, but there is that length measurement included as well, so that if your gauge is just a tad bit different than mine as far as the height of your rows goes, then you can still make sure that you reach that 25 inches for the extra large, or the, you know, however long it is for the size that you are making. So, I don't know, what is he doing? Are you okay? Oh, he's stealing a starburst. Okay, so we will be live hopefully next Wednesday on the Heart Hook Home Facebook page. That's where we do our lives when we have this brand new sweater debuted, and I cannot wait to show you all of the teasers on the page. I'm so excited. I hope that you love this design. It's a very it's just great. I just love it.
And she's gonna make several more sweaters.
I am.
That's all you make?
That's all I make is sweaters?
Yeah.
I'm making a vest right now.
It's kind of repetitive.
Repetitive? Okay. Well, I tried. Now, at least this is a different style, you know? And one of my testers that tested the original Denzel, she was saying, you know, maybe you should just repurpose it as like a homebody sweater and just publish it. I mean, it's done. You might as well, you know. I feel like you still need to tweak it just a little bit because there were some things that I just wasn't happy about. Probably bump the yarn size up, keep the gauge the same, but bump the yarn size up a little bit because if you were to use a thicker yarn, then all of those holes that I was so upset about last week or 2 weeks ago when I did the last podcast, all of those sloppy looking stitches on the yoke, especially where we did the increasing right as you're going along, that would be minimized if you're using a thicker yarn weight. So that may be something that I am entertaining in the future. Maybe I'll hold on to that and that'll be my first published pattern in 2023. I don't know, probably end up being a free pattern on the blog. Yeah, so we'll just see.
Mom,
so
you should start up one of your incomplete projects.
One of my, I have a lot of incomplete projects.
No, I meant the bookmark from like 3 years ago.
Yeah, he wants me to make him a Coke bottle bookmark. I'm working on it. Maybe it's been a work in progress, right? This year has just kicked my butt, to be honest, and we are almost to September. Hallelujah. So thank you all for joining me with this lovely podcast on this lovely Friday, and I will see you in 2 weeks for a new episode of the Heart Hit Home Video Crochet Podcast. All right, we'll see you guys later. Have a lovely weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.